Hey, I'm Kelly Jo Preston, and I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner, and I specialize in working with women who are trying to conceive, pregnant, and postpartum. Today, I'm showing you a sneak peek of one of my favorite tools, the hair tissue mineral analysis, also known as the HTMA. Minerals are the spark plugs of our cells and are important for pretty much all that goes on in the body at a foundational level. When we don't have enough of them or they get out of balance, it can impact your energy levels, how well you sleep, your digestion, your ability to balance blood sugar levels, inflammation, and your immune system. Additionally, minerals are key players in hormone production and regulation, which means they can impact your monthly cycle, fertility, mood, acne, and more. I use HTMAs with all my clients because it's inexpensive, you can do it from the comfort of your own home, and there's no needles involved. Before we dive into the report, I want to share just a few more reasons why I love the HTMA. First off, it can give us clues into how your thyroid is functioning, especially when blood labs come back normal. And this is huge when it comes to supporting your hormones and your fertility. It also gives us the information we need to customize vitamins and supplements that you need, which will really help when we are looking at which prenatal vitamins and supplements are right for you. Also, your metabolic needs and nutrient needs change throughout your pregnancy, so actually getting an HTMA done a couple times throughout your pregnancy can help give support as your body's changing. And lastly, I love running these with my postpartum mamas because you lose about 10% of your mineral nutrient stores through pregnancy and birth. So this can help us to laser in again on that nutritional support you need. It can help you with breastfeeding and even growth and development of your baby. And lastly, I really like HTMAs because they give you a 3-month snapshot of what's been happening in your body versus blood labs will give you a snapshot of what's happening right then and there. If you're curious if you could benefit from an HTMA, take the Could It Be Minerals quiz linked below in the description. Okay, moving on, I'm going to give you some behind the scenes of a hair tissue mineral analysis and actually show you what we can learn on the report. Here I have a client's report up to give you a live example. So I use Trace Elements Labs because they are the best, most thorough lab I have found that offers hair tissue mineral analysis services. You'll notice the report is in 2 pages with several different sections, and we're going to run through this report really quick, and I just wanted to give you a brief overview of how powerful the HTMA is and why I run it with every single client. So over here on the left, you're going to see page 1, and I always start up here where it says metabolic type. This really gives insight to what's happening with the nervous system and what minerals are impacted by stress and how your metabolism is functioning. Metabolism is simply the body's ability to utilize nutrients and to do so efficiently for cellular health, which impacts the rest of your body. So there's 2 main metabolic types, and that's fast and slow. A fast metabolic type means that you burn and make energy at a faster pace. It can also indicate a dominance of the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight part of your nervous system, or just chronic stimulation of the adrenal glands. A slow metabolic type, which we see here on this example, means you burn and make energy at a slower pace. A slow metabolic type can also indicate depletion of adrenal and thyroid glands, more of a burnout situation. And it also means that there's slow metabolism of nutrients. So it means it takes the body longer and requires more fuel for our cells to take the nutrients from food and turn them into energy. So your metabolic type, this can change either direction, fast or slow over time, depending on stress load, diet, and lifestyle. And understanding what's happening metabolically can be helpful to know what areas need supported so that you can move into a healthy direction through managing your stressors, nutrition, and lifestyle. So I also want to add, I mentioned it earlier, but pregnancy comes with major metabolic changes, and these really need to be supported throughout the entirety of your pregnancy and into postpartum. All right. So this woman she had 2 kids. She's postpartum with her second kid, I don't know, 7 or 8 months. And she just very much seemed to be low energy, just really sluggish. And so we're seeing what's happening here. So she's a slow one. So that makes sense. And over here, we have the nutritional elements. So this is what is being tested for. So you have calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium, copper, zinc, phosphorus, iron, manganese, chromium, selenium, boron, cobalt, molybdenum, and sulfur. And I am not going to go through all of these for the sake of keeping this video from getting too long, but I just wanted to share which ones are being noted on the test. As you can see in these purple shaded regions on either side of this white band, this indicates when your levels are tending to get too high or too low. So the sweet spot is you want to be in these white range with this line right here in the middle of the two rows being optimal. We can see with just this example that calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium are quite low, even though these technically are in the white. This magnesium, it's tending to be really low. So this would be more of a four lows pattern that we're looking at. So through this test, we're looking for different patterns to see what's going on in the body. And then just to note, this isn't on the test, but sometimes you'll see like sodium really high up here or potassium. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have too much of it. It might just mean that the body's under a lot of stress and it's burning through those minerals really quickly. As you can see, there's just a lot of nuance here, but when understood, the HTMA gives us so much insight into what's actually happening in the body. Okay, so the next section I want to show you on this first page is the toxic elements. This is where we can get insights regarding heavy metal toxicity. We're looking at, on this test specifically, uranium, arsenic, beryllium, mercury, cadmium, lead, and aluminum. And then in special cases, I can request antimony, but that's extra and I only do that case by case. So here's the thing. We can't escape heavy metals in the world, but it's really important to know what we've been exposed to so that we can support the body and detox them, because many of these heavy metals have been found to impact things like our hormones, fertility, and our children's development. So for example, cadmium, which looks low here, but chances are she might have some low levels right there. We see 0.001, that this can be really harmful. It's very toxic and it can impact sperm and egg quality. And it's also extremely carcinogenic. Or, for example, mercury is very low here again, but any levels we're seeing here, there's like no safe level of heavy metals in the body. And really no known benefit. And so anything we see here can compound over time, especially when we don't take care of it. So I'm going to show you another part of the test in a minute where we can actually see how mercury and lead actually is impacting these nutrient ratios over here. Mercury can impact zinc levels, which these zinc levels look actually fairly well, but we can see over here that mercury is impacting zinc in the body. And we can also see it's impacting iron. Some of these levels, like if you come look at the iron's quite low, some of that can be being displaced with mercury. Also, lead is likely displacing that. So this is great because we can get a clue of what's happening in the body. This is really just what's being excreted in the tissues and gives us a little glimpse of what's happening. Again, the higher you go up in the shaded area, the more concentrated that measurement would be. But really, even if it's in the white, there's technically no normal. So we want to be suspect of any of these and want to deal with them. But here's the cool thing. There are ways and things that we can do so you don't have to be totally freaked out, because in our recommendations, that is where you get a protocol of what you can do if you have heavy metal exposure or if you can see them coming up in your test. So lastly, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this section. This is the additional elements. And I really am focused when a client comes to me for the first time and working with these, really balancing these first four: calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium, because that impacts so many things. But certain cases, like if I have a mom with postpartum depression or anxiety, I'm going to be coming here and looking for certain things. For example, lithium. If lithium is low, that has been known to impact mental health. There's just a couple things we note down here. Okay, I'm going to move on to page 2, which is over here on the right-hand side. And we start with these significant ratios. And so these all represent different things in the body and how well your body is functioning. So this first one is our calcium to phosphorus. This is really how your autonomic nervous system is functioning. Next, we have sodium and potassium. This is really kind of your vitality ratio. How well are you dealing with stress? And this one is just quite low, been under chronic stress for quite some time. We have calcium, potassium here. This is our thyroid ratio. It can show us kind of what if the thyroid is trending towards being more hyper or hypo. We have our zinc to copper. This is our hormone ratio and also mental health ratio. And it can also help us see if there might be some hidden copper toxicity going on in the body. Next up, we have our sodium magnesium. This is our adrenal ratio and can help show us whether it's overactive, if a lot of stress is happening currently, or if we have an underactive adrenal glands, which is just showing chronic stress for a long time. So as you can see, again, this one right here, both the adrenals and this vitality ratio are quite low. So that's a sign of chronic stress over a long period of time. Then we have calcium, magnesium. This is our blood sugar ratio. And this can show us if someone's has tendencies for high or low blood sugar. And then lastly, our iron copper ratio. This is our infection ratio, and it can also show us if someone tends to trend towards bacterial infections or viral infections. So this is something I'm always looking at. It gives us so many clues into what's happening at the body and how someone needs to be supported. All right, not getting too much in the weeds, and I briefly mentioned this earlier. These are minerals all can work together or work against each other, and same with the heavy metals. And so this is just showing how certain metals impact key minerals. So we can see in this instance, even though lead here is low, actually shows here that the iron to lead ratio, that this is being impacted. So lead is displacing iron in the body. Same with this, with mercury is also there. There's some heavy metal detoxing that needs to happen to also support some of these iron levels. This is just giving us more insight into kind of what's happening at that root level. And then lastly, these additional ratios. Again, I'm not going to go super deep into this, but I am always looking down here for the copper to molybdenum. This can really help in kind of seeing what's going on with copper in the body and whether or not there is toxicity. This is the report in a nutshell. It gives us so much insight, and when you can understand and look at it from a functional lens alongside your health history and story, then it really comes together so that we can we see these different patterns, and then you can get a recommendation that is unique to your body and what is actually happening and how you are currently responding to the stressors in your life. As you can see, getting a hair tissue mineral analysis can illuminate what's happening in your body and is a powerful tool that can explain why you're feeling a certain way or struggling with various things such as poor sleep, depression, horrible periods, fertility challenges, morning sickness, postpartum rage, and more. I offer an HTMA bundle that comes with a pre-recorded video analysis of your results and a personalized protocol. If you're interested in getting an HTMA, click the link below in the description. Thanks for joining me, and if you found this video helpful, please like this video below and hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.